Welcome to the Real Life, Real Kitchen podcast. Real talk for curious mums reclaiming food, family and community. I'm Zoe F. Willis, English mother of many, mentor to mums. And if you're reheating your tea again, this is your place. So pop the kettle on as each week I chat with folks who feed, heal and hold our communities together. You don't need perfection to pull up a chair, just curiosity and the courage to ask, what if there's another way?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Life, Real Kitchen podcast with me, your host, Zoe Willis. This week, I've got a friend of mine from the parish, Lisa Nicholls, who is a midwife of a few years' experience, Lisa?
30 some odd.
30 odd years experience. And this feels very timely because we were just saying we know of probably about 10 ladies at the moment who are due babies between late December and July or so, 2026. So I thought this might be quite a good conversation to have because having had many babies myself, and I have questions. I just have questions for somebody who's on the other side, the receiving end of the babies and the birth. So, which is why, yes, Lisa was very kindly and very gamely said, yes, she would answer my questions. So here we go. And I feel I've got a little face behind me. Go on, away with Chief. Thank you. So, Lisa, to start with, you're originally from Texas, but you're now in the UK. How, from that to UK midwife, how did that happen?
Oh, very interestingly.
Yes.
I started a nursing career, actually, in Scotland.
Wow.
And became an enrolled nurse there. And then I wanted to become a registered nurse. And in Aberdeen, they didn't think that I was registered nurse material. So I applied to America. And I went to Virginia and did my registered nurse there. 90 average, got a scholarship.
Wow.
Worked my way through, had 3 jobs, and then qualified. And and then some things happened at home. I was called back to Scotland. My stepmom had cancer at the time.
Mm-hmm.
She needed help.
Yeah.
So I basically dropped everything. I was a sick children's nurse.
Come here, Dad. I don't know what's for lunch, darling. We'll do that later. Yes.
Came back to the UK.
And then came back to the UK. Yep.
And so I was unemployed for a while and just helped out at home. Things got better
But that's intentionally unemployed. Yeah.
I had to come and home help look after my family. So, my dad's family and it was suggested about midwifery. And I was like, oh, midwifery. Then I went and had an interview down in Greenwich with a 16. Got accepted in Greenwich. And I started my midwifery there. But they said, oh, hang on. You're not a British nurse, registered nurse. So you better get your British registered nurse first. Like, okay.
Even though you had all the qualifications, all the scholarships, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So I needed to work at the hospital for 3 months while they observed me, make sure that I was a real proper registered nurse. And within like a week or so, they seemed to supervising me and left me to run the ward. I was like, okay, I'm not getting paid for this. But we had lots of fun.
Good.
It was really good. Then I started midwifery and finished my midwifery there in Greenwich.
Was that to transfer from being a nurse to a midwife? I presume it's shorter than a full, 3-4 year course.
Yes, it's 18 months.
Yeah.
But depending, because there's 2 parts. There's 2 parts to the exam. At the time I was dating my husband and failed my midwifery exams, and he failed tax exams.
Was possibly a bit too distracted, yes.
little distracted. So I reset my exams, and when I reset exams, I was pregnant and big bump. I came waddling into the midwifery exam, and I said, "Oh, exam, this is phase number 3, is it?" I.e., having your own.
Yes.
The real experience.
Yes.
Having a good midwife.
Because this is something we'll come back to your story as well. But this is something I've observed, and I've seen it in teachers as well as midwives. When a midwife has their own children, there is a softening. There is a softening. I'm not going to say that they're kind of completely loosey-goosey and relaxed about what's happening, but it's a bit less tick boxy. It's a bit more trusting. The woman knows what's happening to her body. Would that be? And then when the babies arrive, also a sense that the mothers kind of know that there's something wrong or something right with their babies. Would that be a fair kind of?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many things that I think midwifery isn't just a science. And there is such a human element that you cannot take away from the whole experience. It is so wholly human that there's no textbook that could ever cover everything. It's just one of those. It's like art. It's no two are the same. It's non-repeatable. Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, well, I tell you, a lot of prayers are very much said under my breath.
Yeah.
Because we're not really in as much control as we think we are. Let's put it that way. And midwifery is a beautiful example of that in action.
Yeah. Yeah. That trust.
Yeah, because you can't see inside. You don't know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
You got a good idea.
Yeah.
But there's no absolute.
And having been through it yourself as well, it's an understanding of what kind of the pain is or where they are within the labor and all of this. You having experienced it, it's more of a yes. Oh yes, I remember this. I understand what that is.
Absolutely. There's it's a listening. You have to listen to your body, I think. And I don't know how well that can be taught. Yeah, it's just, yep. I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Let's go back to you come into your exam and you're heavily pregnant, baby number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I passed. It was great. And yeah, I started working. I worked full time, part time. I can't remember. Yeah, but they had to put me into the section where the poor diabetic moms have to drink the stuff and
yes.
have you over an hour or two. That was my first job because I was so heavily pregnant that I actually deliver other people.
I want to say you can't really bend over.
I couldn't bend down.
Both you and the mum would be like rolling around on the ground going, what are we going to do? Reading the blind a bit. Wonderful.
Absolutely hilarious.
So when you had your first child, and there was the I like to use the word balancing, but we could go with juggling, motherhood plus work. How did that go? Because again, I have come across other midwives in the past who will do night shift so they can be at home with the little ones. How did you kind of balance this?
How did I do? Actually, yeah, I worked part time. I didn't work time once I had my first baby. And of course it was childminder.
Yeah.
Had to drop off and pick up and things because husband was working full time. So, yeah, it was that sort of thing. Yeah, it wasn't always 100%.
But everyone got to bed alive. That's the important. They did.
Yes.
They did.
Yes.
They did. How many years have you been a midwife for?
Oh, I'm just trying to think.
'Cause you had the nursing beforehand, that was a few years, and then the midwifery on top of that.
Yes. Oh, so I think I qualified as a nurse in 88. Qualified as a midwife in 90.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So whatever, how many years that is.
Yep. Yep, that's
But I'm retired now.
But and how many babies over all those years, how many babies did you deliver?
Now, we have to deliver at least 100
Yeah.
before I qualify.
Yeah.
So that was before I qualified. And then since, let's probably triple that.
At least.
But yeah, I moved to from yeah, we have different roles in midwifery. And I really, really love the role of community midwife, where you're out doing the clinics, doing the teaching, doing the antenatal classes, home visits, helping moms breastfeed. Um, that seemed to be my forte as such. So yeah, I gravitated towards that, and I did that, and enjoyed the home births.
Yes.
And there were less. There weren't so many as a hospital. Get very busy on the suite, and sometimes you don't have that time to really get to know people. As a community midwife, you got to know your ladies as such, and you helped them through their whole pregnancy, and then they would have their, and it was just such a nice thing. And even if you weren't at the delivery, you could see them afterwards. Yeah, it was a relationship.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that strikes me, which is an interesting thing, because I've had, for various reasons, my babies have appeared in hospital. And you have this wonderful connection with the community midwife. And then you go into hospital and it's a bit, who are you? What's going on? It's all quite, yeah, it's a bit rushed.
Yeah, it's a bit disjointed.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't feel,
And
but I do get the sense, again, I'm getting the sense, this is just observation. Is it different temperaments of midwives, those who work in the hospital versus those who work in the community? What draws one midwife to say, I love the hospital work, or another one who says, I'm loving the community work and having that connection? What's the
yes, I think in hospital, in like delivery suite, you get some very, very good clinicians. They are experts in what they do. They work in a high pressure environment. Um, quite fast moving. I would say highly intelligent. Um, they don't want to sit around and be bored. You It's that personality I think
Yeah.
attracts.
Yeah.
Delivery suites. The people who would really enjoy emergency room.
Yeah.
There are those types. I'm not one of them.
Thank goodness there are people like that, so that you've got kind of the full spectrum, even within midwifery.
Everyone is different, and every midwife is different. And yeah, I think you find your niche, find what you're good at, and what makes you happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm,
that will also reflect on the women and the babies you're helping. If you are sort of, yes, I'm in the right role for me,
mhm.
then there is an ease with your with the way you work and the way you support the women.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now,
Yes.
again, you're talking about being in a hospital setting, and you've got your high-powered, highly intelligent clinicians and all of that. Again, something I've noticed, having had multiple babies and been through this once or twice, there is quite a cultural difference between obstetricians, so the doctors, and
Mhm,
midwives.
mhm,
It's all okay. So again, my sense is the doctors are quite bish bash bosh, and
mhm.
it's again a bit tick boxy.
Yes.
It's a bit tick boxy.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
and I understand, kind of rightly so, because you're looking after the health of the mother and the baby. it can sometimes veer into being quite terrifying and sometimes feeling like you don't have as much choice as you possibly do. I'm thinking, so for example, VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean and things, there's quite a lot of concerns and worries, which I wonder, for example, pushes more mothers into having another cesarean when they might possibly have been able to have a natural birth. That isn't necessarily as supported.
Yes.
Whereas, what are your thoughts?
One thing you do have to explain very clearly is from an obstetrician or a doctor's point of view. Be fair, they have to explain to you case scenario. Okay? So, although they always come in and they always, oh, doom and gloom, here he comes. No, that is their role. That is their job. They have to inform you of like all the things that can go wrong during a procedure. And that is their job. They would be negligent if they didn't tell. On the other hand, you're on the receiving end and you're hearing this information of all things that can go wrong. It is terrifying.
Yeah.
It really is terrifying, but you must hold in your head the fact that this is their job and they have to tell you about all the horrible things. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to happen to you. And it is very hard to keep that in your head when they're telling you all these things because you think, oh my goodness, that's going to happen to me. He's telling me what's happening or what's going to happen. And it's not necessarily, but he's to inform you of all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you make an informed decision. And as long as you have that clearly in your head, his role and what he needs to say, the ultimate decision is with you.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to take your power away. And they're not necessarily trying to scare you to death. It is their job.
Yeah.
It really is their job to do that. And they would be negligent if they didn't. But that's a different role. And as a role as a midwife, we are there to promote the mom as such and what she wants. And we kind of try and understand where she's going. And we're trying to put the two worlds together. The doctor has to tell you, and this is and we're going to have a deadline here because I think that if we don't get this baby out by 10 p.m., we can head into trouble. And so the midwife's job is to try and make those two worlds, obstetrics and mummies having babies, into a safe place somewhere in the middle.
So actually, it's more the role of almost a mediator. Because again, from the outside, I'd almost seen like obstetrics running not quite parallel to midwifery. But I think that's very beautiful having, the midwife as more of that mediator between the two.
Yes.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah.
We're trying to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want a mommy and a happy baby at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yes. Happy and healthy at the end of it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Very much so. Exactly. Okay. And is there much communication between obstetrics and midwives, as in their meetings and discussing particular cases? Do you have that kind of?
Yes, absolutely. We do. We do case reviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And having that. Okay.
And very learning. It's something that's very valuable. Learning. And one of the most valuable things is we take cases and we go through them and we go, what could have gone better here? That wasn't so great. What could we do better there? And it's also, we also have our own not self-review, but we have these reviews for ourselves that we're constantly having to keep up to date. And we've had this for a long time, and they're starting to bring that in. with even regular nurses. But yeah, it's one of these things we've had been learning all the time. You're constantly learning and updating, and how can that go better? How can you do that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And improve things. And yes, I suppose it's moved on a bit from that Monty Python sketch of the bells and the whistles when the lady's trying to have the baby and all the doctors come in and all the noise. I'll put a link in the show notes for that one, because I think that's what, late 70s, early 80s, so it's a bit of its time. But I'll put that in the show notes, and then people can watch and see what what things used to be like, or the satirical interpretation of that. So now,
Yeah.
Dinner's burning, the washing's multiplying, and someone's crying. It could even be you. If your evenings feel like survival mode, the Command the Chaos Mum Life Management Planner is your first gentle step back to calm. It's a printable 80-page guide and planner to help you reset your routines and breathe again without needing to become someone else entirely. Start your reset today. The link's in the show notes.
Now, coming back to all of these learned clinicians and like billions of babies being born all over the world over thousands of years, why are due dates just like reading the tea leaves, Lisa? I mean, I get, I'll go in dutifully. When was the date of, your last period finished? And I'll be like, maybe about here. And then I'm given a due date, and I'll say, well, I'll be due 2 weeks later because I've had several babies and I baked them for a long time. And they look at me and they go, well, actually, the midwives are pretty good, but I go to the obstetricians and I really have to push for the fact I baked the babies for a long time. I don't know. The due dates, I've met one person who's had their baby on their due date. Yeah, how do we not know this? What starts a birth? How do we not know?
This is great. Do you know what? I wish I had a crystal ball that could tell you. But I must go back to facts that every woman's different. Not everyone has a 28-day cycle. Funny enough, shock, horror. And that's what those books, they come out in those books that you have a 28-day cycle, and it's just not true. I personally had a 35-day cycle. That really threw everything off.
Yeah.
I think that's why they're so keen nowadays for the scan. They do the crown rump length, they do the femur length, they come up, they put it in an algorithm, they come up with a date. It's supposed to be pretty accurate. But again, how accurate is measuring the baby who's wiggling around in your womb while the sonographer is trying to do a picture and take a measurement?
Yeah. I mean, it's bad enough just taking a photo of a child on the outside, trying them to keep still. I mean,
yeah, well, never mind, they're floating in fluid. They can kind of do whatever they want at any angle. So how accurate is your I mean, they have come a long way. They really have. I mean, their stuff, their equipment, fantastic. Second to none. I've seen their new stuff. It's amazing. Yeah, I was just in there. And I was like, oh, the equipment certainly has improved. But that's really funny because some women know their dates. They know when the baby was conceived. So it's really trying. I tend to listen to the women.
thank you, Lisa.
Because they tend to know. and I think, if you have a discretion between the date they give you and the date that exactly, you can talk to your obstetrician, you can talk to your midwife and have that discussion.
Yeah. And I think I've definitely found that with the more babies I've had, that I can kind of advocate and say, this is the pattern. This is the kind of the compromise I'm happy to make, or the situation, and people are much more, okay, yep, that's fine. I would definitely, as you move along, there is more of a
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, the whole reason they do the date thing is because the placenta ages,
No, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and it can decrease its function
Yeah.
can decrease,
Yeah.
and the baby can be getting less nutrients. The baby could be not getting enough. Um, and it can be an issue. So that's why we need to keep an eye on
Yeah.
dates, is because we know the placenta doesn't
Yeah.
function very well at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it,
So and yeah, people know also the fact that during the end it's you don't want them overcooked.
course. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, certainly this is a conversation I've had with in the past, because I bake them long. I will say, right, here is my limit, and then it's going in for an elective cesarean.
Hmm.
This is the date I'm happy to do that. Um, and then the baby arrives beforehand, so it's usually fine. Um, but yes, and also saying things like, no, not going to be induced. That's nope, thank you very much. But having that kind of a discussion about, yes, where is the date going to be? Where's the cutoff limit? And coming in for regular scans and this sort of thing. It is the meet. It isn't even meeting halfway. It becomes a good conversation. Although I have to admit, I think temperament of obstetrician has helped with that in the past, because I've had a couple who've been a bit, but then a couple who've just been just great, and usually one
Yeah,
who've had children themselves. Again,
it's interesting, isn't it?
yeah.
it it's very interesting.
Yeah. Again, it's that softening. It's that softening. So, okay. You have seen many births. You have seen and helped many mothers. You've had your own births. 6, in fact.
Yeah.
So again, you've had a variety. I mean, I also have thoughts that the temperament of the baby is reflected in the birth. I've seen that in a few times. Um, what would you say is what makes for a good birth? Now, after I had my first, I started reading a lot of Michel Audin, who did,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
had, for those who don't know, he'd been a French obstetrician in the 50s and 60s, and then in the 1970s set up a birth clinic in a place called Pithiviers in France, where he essentially said, leave the mums alone, don't put them on their back in stirrups, because that's going against gravity. All you need is the woman in a quiet place and the midwife knitting in the corner. I mean, he was saying that 99% of his births were all natural, 1% needed emergency help.
Hmm.
Another interesting thing he said was no husbands. Do not have the men around, because it kind of closes things up. As soon as the men pop out for a cup of tea or go to the loo, that's when the baby arrives. So
Hmm.
I thought so that was just a really fascinating, it was a really fascinating read. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I went to a few talks of midwives who'd worked with him in the past. It was quite amazing. So that is Michel Audin, but
Hmm.
Lisa Nicholls, best case scenario, best case scenario for birth. What makes for a good birth?
Yes, I mean, I read O'Donnell, and I myself had several water births,
Yeah,
and I there's a lot through observation I agree with. Absolutely. Uh, I was the type of person who leave me alone, and I'll in the birth pool. I felt safe in a birth pool because it was my space. Nobody was going to get into that space. Very interestingly, and it's funny if say you're have early contractions at home and you're wandering around, you're in a comfortable position, you're in a comfortable place, you're in your home, and therefore you feel safe. And they're really getting on, and this is a scenario happens so many times that you move the mom goes to the hospital, she thinks, okay, I'm contracting every 3 minutes, whatever. Move. And as soon as she gets in that car and gets to the hospital, all the contractions stop. And it's like, oh, It's this cat scenario. It's the cat under the bed. If she's giving birth under the bed and you move her, she stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you her environment. And I've seen it so many times. It's unbelievable because a woman has to feel secure and safe, generally to get on with having a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. This is again something, again, personal reflection, but when I am getting to the 42-week stage, I am coming into hospital at the earliest twinge, and I'm just going to sit here until the baby arrives. I'm not, because then I can settle. I can settle and just be like, right, this is where it's happening. And it's makes a huge difference. Yeah, just getting comfortable and cozy. Sure, it's not home, but you can make it. It becomes this sort of this nest, this space. Again, one of the things I say is very much, I am not having any students coming in. People just go away. Leave me, as you say, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Crack on. And yeah, being settled is a really important part of it. Posties are right.
Yeah, I think, with a good birth means, I think having an open mind, because we never know what's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to go, and keeping positive. And my best advice is you only have to do one contraction at a time.
Yes.
Because they only last about 60 seconds. And believe you me, you can do about anything for 60 seconds because it stops after that. And then you can breathe, walk around, have some lunch. It's when people, they're contracting, and then they go, oh, shall we do an internal, see how many centimeters you are? Fine. And they've been cracking on. They think you're doing such a good job. They do an internal and they go, you're only 3 centimeters.
Quite deflating.
And I think what happens is the woman's mind goes catastrophic. I can't do this for another 5 hours. And that's when you have to scrape them off the ceiling, because it becomes overwhelming and you just think, I can't do this. But if you bring yourself back to, I only have to do one contraction at a time. That's all. Be in the moment, and you've only got one to get through, and you can breathe through that, or use your gas and air or whatever. When you get your head around that, I find it makes the most difference of all, because it's not about different pain reliefs and this and that next thing. It's in your head. A lot of it, I mean, the pain, how you feel pain is increased by the fact if you're not breathing. If you're not breathing well, actually, your pain threshold goes down. You sure must need oxygen, funny enough. So does the baby. So yeah, because when you're in pain, your first reaction is to go, oh, tense, hold your breath, and tense up. That's your first reaction to pain. So it's going, oh, let's relax. Let's get our shoulders out of our ears and breathe and go with it. Just let it come, let it go. And don't be afraid of it, because the fear, the anxiety, the stress, the tension, it all makes everything worse.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my little bit of advice. One contraction at a time.
And very much being in the moment. Just, it's that.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And it's not a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a
yeah. We can do little things. We can do little things, and they all add up. Which is, and then you get a baby. Adds up to
exactly a little miracle at the end.
Yeah, a little miracle at the end. It's beautiful. Using the word miracle, I'm going to flip this round, because it is how many days before Christmas? 3 days before Christmas. And we were saying This is what I love about Catholicism, actually, is how the liturgical year, follows some very, very human experiences. For example, we have, coming back earlier in the year, we have Lent, which is in the springtime, usually at the time when food is dwindling, that has been stored over winter. Easter appears, springtime is happening, and you've got Christ and his resurrection, and the food starts coming. So there's something quite fitting and powerful there. Advent, and then obviously we have Christmas. I was saying to you before we started, Advent is this time of waiting before we have the birth of Christ, birth of the Messiah. But for a lot of mums who have the children, Advent is a bit like the nesting before Christmas, where you're running around getting everything ready. But then Christmas itself, really reflecting on how Our Lady is quiet. We have midnight mass, which is when Christ is born, at night, somewhere quiet. She's settled. She's not interrupted. There's a lot there. What are your kind of reflections as a midwife? Your sort of reflections on Christmas, women, babies, birth?
Oh, as a midwife, is a privilege, absolute privilege, to be with woman giving birth, because it's such, every time is so special and such a miracle, and the joy that you feel when that baby appears is undescribable, and makes everything so worth it. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard work. It's a process, and nobody ever said it was going to be easy and pain-free and not worth the work. They call it labor for a reason. It is work. But the joy and the peace and the love that you get to see this mom holding a baby, and the love that she has. You can almost touch it. You can feel it. It's such a miracle, and it's just such a privilege to be there at that time, just to be observing in the corner, doing my bits I have to do, and yeah, it is wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, a real gift. And yes, and Christmas is, I suppose, that extra gift, isn't it?
Yeah. You can make a comparison, yeah, absolutely, between moms giving birth in the dark and in the quiet, and Jesus and Mary. And she was obviously the ultimate mom. I think she might have had some angelic help though. Like, I hear Joseph was asleep.
And so there she was, just getting on with it quietly.
Oh dear. Yeah.
No, it's lovely. And I also reflect, sometimes we'll go to the 8 o'clock mass, the mass of the dawn on Christmas Day. And it's always quite a quiet one, because you have the big one at mid-morning. So that's the the big one with all the hoopla. But the 8 o'clock mass, it always makes me think of that, when you've had that first night with the newborn, and the sunlight comes in, the dawn, and you're holding the baby and you're going, and it's that quiet wonder before everybody starts coming and goes, "Oh my gosh, the baby's here, how wonderful." And you so that's the 10 o'clock mass. 8 o'clock mass. Mass of the dawn is just that mother and baby quiet.
Yeah, beautiful.
Awe and wonder. Yeah.
And yeah, you try and give people that. You're trying to give the moms that as well. As a midwife, you try and go, "Oh, just
Yeah. Yeah.
all's good.
Yeah.
Just leave." And let that wonder happen. Yeah, beautiful. often gone to the midnight mass, and I don't even think I've been to the dawn mass, and I think I might try it this year.
Mhm. Yes, give it a go. It's quite different tone, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So yes, no, brilliant. Lisa, have you got anything else to add? Any top tips for mums who are going to have babies soon? Or, I mean, we've given the one about in the actual birth being sort of one contraction, being in the moment. You just got to get through next contraction. Any other top tips?
Yeah, have your space. Have your little bag, and always have a bag packed anyway, because you just never know. Um, yeah, just be prepared as a good scout.
Yes.
Yeah, be prepared. And if you've got an instinct as a mom and you think something, tell somebody. Definitely. Um, and if you feel like you're not being listened to, say it again until somebody does listen to you, because I find that's important. Yeah. Don't skip things. If you think something, you tell people. Don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be dismissed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 That's a good tip. Definitely. And always, yeah, food. Um, yeah, do some food prep. 'Cause afterwards you just don't. I was wandering around for like after 3 months in my dressing gown in the afternoon, going, I don't have time for a shower. I don't know what happens, but somehow your organizational skills go really out the window when you have a little person to look after.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, sleep when the baby sleeps, wake when the baby's
Yes.
awake, and eat plenty,
Yes.
and say yes to all offers of help, even though you might not like the person. Just say yes.
Yes.
Of course, you can do my
Yeah.
laundry. Yes, you can bring me some food. Yes, you can do that. Don't say, "Oh, no, 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 we'll do it." Uh-uh. No. Just offer all offers of help.
Yeah. I actually created a couple of resources for pregnancy and birth, and one of them was like the ultimate postpartum meal prep pack, which sounds off the tongue. And it's got kind of recipes in there, but it's also got how to ask for help, which
Mhm.
I think a lot of we struggle with, because a lot of women, it's like, no, I can do this, I can crack on, I'll be fine. It's just, popping out a baby and life continues. No.
No.
If yeah,
No trauma. Having a baby,
it's a lot.
it changed your life.
Yes, it does. It does.
And in a good way. I would have had more. I mean, I just think children are wonderful. They're amazing. And they change your life in a good way. And it's almost like you get a picture of what God the Father is looking down and thinking about us. You look down at your children and think, what? But it's that same unconditional love I think God has for us, and how we kind of run around in our stupidity, um, and think funny things, and God knows exactly. And it's like how we look at our children, and we can see the whole picture, and the child only sees a little section.
Yeah.
And we are like those children. We only see a little section, and God the Father sees the big picture. It gives you that a bit of an insight to how being a parent is is similar to how God the Father sees us and how we are His children.
Yeah. Yeah. No, beautiful.
And it's an unconditional love, and you just think, of course, I would never forget my child. I love my child. Yeah, and how God the Father looks at us and says, I would never forget you. I love you unconditionally.
Yep. Yep. No, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Lisa, something for us to pray on and mull on. I think, on that note. Okay. Now, normally I'd say to my listeners, where can people find out more about you? But you are Lisa of the parish. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me, and then I will pass them on to Lisa, and then I'm sure she will be able to
Absolutely. I will endeavor to answer your questions.
your questions. Thank you so much. All right then, thank you. And if you have found this episode useful, please do like, share, and subscribe. Share it with another mum that you know of. All the subscribes help get the word out, and just grateful for all your help. Thank you so much. Lisa, have a very Merry Christmas, and thank you.
Thank you. And you have a Merry Christmas, and to all the lovely listeners. God bless.
Thank you, Lisa.
Love the podcast and want to help keep the kettle on? You can support the show. Think of it like buying me a cup of tea or helping cover the cost of the biscuits. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thank you for keeping this kitchen conversation going.